I had to break out the red Solo cup today.
Oh, see, I
Yeah.
can't, but look, I came prepared just for you, man.
I love it. I
Okay,
love it.
bro, pulled the
That's
brew out for you.
that's awesome. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is episode 112 of the Brew Party podcast. I'm your host, Andy Hopper, and I'm back once again with another longtime friend of the Brew Party. This time joining me from the Three Man Weave podcast, it is AJ Etter-Williams. AJ, it's so good to see you, my man. It's been too long. Happy to have you here.
Definitely, man. Proud to be back, and I appreciate you for having me. Like you said, man, it's been a long time, and I see you in my honor. You brought the red cup out for Mr. Red Cup, so cheers to that,
I
man.
love it. I will absolutely drink to that. So I had you on. This will be our NFL Week 3 show. Before we get into that, how about you plug yourself? Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find the podcast, anything you want to promote or plug.
Absolutely, man. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, 3 Man Weave _. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to 3 Man Weave podcast. And, you'll see these three amazing faces. I'm the most handsome, but, you'll find us on YouTube. Like I said, make sure you like and subscribe. And we're also on Facebook, man. We have a really fun Facebook group where we do a lot of trash talk, but we also get some real good debates going on in there. And it's not just sports either. We do a little bit of everything, music, movies, all of that. So it's just real fun, good, semi clean fun, because Facebook's they try to flag us a couple times, but we still kick it. We still going strong, man. But yeah, man, make sure you come join up the 3 Man Weave. We had a lot of fun and a lot of good debates over here, changing the narrative.
Great podcast, great Facebook group as well. Like you said, there's some great debates. I got to get Hill and Cannon on the show at some point as well. You guys had one of my favorite all-time moments on the Brew Party when we were talking about Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
I watched that clip a couple weeks ago, and it's still to this day holds up, still laughs. Free that man. Anyway, we're here to talk some football. So week 2, we'll do a quick recap of that. I actually won money week 2. My bets actually worked out. All right, the Titans money line, Ravens money line. The Lions really fucked me. They fucked me out of a parlay, and then I needed a touchdown from Durham Smythe in that Dolphins game, and I would have won quite a bit more.
Yes,
Moolah, but it's still I
know the
can't
feeling.
complain. I
know
can't
the
complain
feeling.
too much. What stood out to you most from week 2? Any game, any narrative, anything like that?
What stood out to me is this may seem like a little bit kind of out of nowhere, but are the Rams for real? Because they don't seem like they don't seem like they know that the world thinks that they're tanking.
Right.
They came out, got a win week 1, and then, this week they played the 49ers extremely close. And I know it's a division game. Division games are extremely close, but you got to look at it, man. It's almost like McVay, he got a healthy Stafford back and just said, all right, Puka Nacua, go here and play the Cooper Cup role.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working. You got like you got Kieran Williams coming out there running the ball, looking like a poor man's Todd Gurley, and of course when you got Aaron Donald on your defense, that's a pretty damn good start. So, is that something that we should be paying attention to?
I like what you said. They don't know they're supposed to be bad, which is the most dangerous team in my opinion
Absolutely.
to run into. They just have no fear. Puka Nacua has been insane. I think 20 receptions, something like that in 2 games. That's a record for a rookie receiver. Not who I was expecting you to throw out, but I love it. I am going to shout out the Tennessee Titans.
Absolutely.
Getting it done against the LA Chargers and making that seat a little bit hotter for Brandon Staley. Nice to see DeAndre Hopkins working out there as well. It was crazy. I don't know if you saw this. He he reached out to the Chiefs, the Lions, the Bucks, and somebody, the Jets maybe, and like nobody called him back. And if you're sitting there and you're a Chiefs fan right now, looking
You're
at their
kicking yourself in the keister.
you're like, what the hell were we thinking?
To say, oh no, we have Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. We good.
Yeah, no,
We good.
yeah, DeAndre, I'm sorry, we're straight, bro. Like, I don't know, just crazy, but it's good to see him get a fit, and it was good to see them get a win. Also, had them on the money line last week, thanks to our friend Tom Scavetta, who was on last week and said they were going to win, talked me into it. So,
Hey, nice.
I will go.
It's never a tough betting against the Chargers. They're bound to screw it up somewhere along the line. So you might have a little bit of safe money as long as whoever you're betting on keeps it close going into the fourth quarter. They're gonna crumble in the fourth quarter.
I mean, they will just find any way to lose by one score. They're like the Nebraska of the NFL. So let's jump into let's talk about your team a little bit. So you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Yes.
Off to a little bit of a slow start. Not
Absolutely.
necessarily ideal. 0-2 so far. Did look a lot better this last week against the Ravens.
Right.
Looked like you were getting more back in that Bengals we were used to, but still did come out with an L. I guess I'll just start here. What has gone wrong so far?
So what has gone wrong is I said this actually on our podcast a couple episodes ago. Well, last episode, Zach Taylor does not have a counterpunch. And if you notice, we always tend to start the season slow. And as the season goes on, it starts to kick up because it's almost as if Zach Taylor gets in his own way because he has something in his mind. And so it's like, how every team has that script. Hey, we're going to run these plays. We're going to do this. When that script is not working, he has no ability to say, okay, let me do this instead. Let me change up the game plan and do this to you. And I've noticed something where I think a lot of like former quarterbacks who are play callers and coordinators now, they don't believe in the run. You saw this actually with the Cowboys, and this was something that Mike McCarthy said. He was like, hey, Kellen wanted to put up points. I want to win games. Kellen wanted to throw the ball, air it out. And if you look at Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow's coming off a calf strain. He didn't play any in the preseason. He missed 5 weeks of camp. Then you come out both games, you throw it 30 plus times, and Joe Mixon gets 13 carries in both games. Joe Mixon averaged 4.5 and 4.3 yards per carry in those games, respectively. But to someone who has that quarterback mind, who always thinks, oh, I'm the quarterback, it's on me. So when you're calling the plays, what are you going to do? You're going to say, hey, this is our quarterback. We're going to put it on his shoulders. When in actuality, you need to rein yourself in and be like, let's run the ball. You can't get discouraged by a 2-yard gain followed by a 1-yard gain, because next thing you know, you may have a 7-yard gain, and then it's a zero. It's a play for no gain, but then you may have one for 20. But then guess what? Those linebackers, they got to respect it. And I think if you look at those Bengals games, you see a lot of stuff going, quick game. Joe Burrow's getting the ball out in under 2.3 seconds. So it's like they can't do anything over the middle of the field because the linebackers are just sitting. They're sitting comfortably. They're not respecting the run because you're not doing it. Mm-hmm. And so now the picture's getting muddy. It's making it harder. Joe Burrow has to make perfect throws. And when you rusty, you can't do it. So of course you're going to start slow. And the first couple of seasons in Joe Burrow's career, everyone was talking about the offensive line. And I still had issues with Zach Taylor's play calling because a good play caller, they scheme around these things. Look at Mike McDonald down in Miami. Their offensive line isn't good. They're still one of the most efficient and big play offenses in the league. Across the league, there's an offensive line problem in the NFL. There's very few teams that actually have a good offensive line. Detroit, Cleveland, people still like to throw in Dallas, but like honestly, if you actually look at Dallas, this isn't Dallas that Zeke was running behind. This is a lot
Mhm.
different. So it's very few teams that have good offensive lines, but the great offensive minds actually coach around it. And Zach Taylor can't do that. And a lot of people said, "Oh, he may not be opening up his playbook because of the offensive line," but that's an excuse because coach around that. And
Yeah.
now this offensive line, if you actually look at the last few games, they played really well, and it still looks the same. So this is on Zach Taylor in my eyes, man. Of course, Joe Burrow's not healthy, and
Yeah.
having Joe Burrow, you got to play better. But you know, Zach Taylor, he's a great head coach, but he's a horrible play caller.
So Burrow being not 100% healthy, I was reading, I saw an article like as of like an hour ago, like his
Yeah.
status is up in the air for week 3, talking about potentially shutting him down. Any thoughts on that?
So it's funny. Coming out of camp, I'm not sure if you heard Jamar Chase was like, "Hey, sit out till week 5, be 100%, and
Yeah.
we'll take it from there. We want you for the long run." And everyone, they questioned him and stuff like that. And hindsight is 2020 because you don't expect to come out and be 0-2. You thought, okay, maybe we can win a couple games and stuff like that. But once again, instead of having him drop back, just hand the ball off. Allow him to be a game manager until you are 100% certain that he is 100%. And I think now it puts you in this awkward spot. Well, shit, do we sit him when we're already 0-2
Mhm.
and we have a Monday night game against the Rams, who we thought might have been a walkover when the schedule came out, but it's not looking like that.
Mhm.
And so this is a real possibility that you could go down, to 0-3. And so at the end of the day, I think you have to do whatever is best for Joe Burrow in the long term. Because if this is something that's going to be lingering and you still feel like you have a chance, it's a 17 game season.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do to get him healthy and see if you can make a late push. You know, but you gotta make sure he's healthy. To me, this stretch is going to be very pivotal because, like I said, we got the Rams, then we have the Titans, then we have the Cardinals, and then we get a bye. So it's just like, if you are going to sit him, this is the stretch that you actually
Yeah.
have to sit him because you would be able to kind of get those 3 games off the way and get a bye and get him that extended rest. But
I
I
don't
don't think they
know.
will. I don't think they will.
Yeah, that's kind of almost a gray area where I don't know, but it makes me glad that I'm not making that decision. I did also see a comment from Jamar Chase that I wanted to ask you about, saying that he wants to take more shots downfield. Feels like they're not giving him enough opportunities to go, down the field and make a play. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So this goes back to my point. Look at Puka Nakua. They're getting him the ball. They're making an effort to get him the ball. It's the same thing that he did with Cooper Kupp. Everyone knows that Cooper Kupp is your number one guy, and he's your playmaker that you're going to go after. You get him the ball. Look at the Chiefs. They get Travis Kelce the ball. when Aaron Rodgers had Devontae Adams, they got him the ball. Minnesota Vikings, what do they do with Justin Jefferson? Get him the ball. Tyreek Hill, they get them the ball. You have to, like, as a coach, you have to be able to do the things necessary to get your playmakers in the most advantageous positions, not just sending them on bubble screens and smoke screens saying, "Oh, let me get you the ball in your hands." No, send me on a drag route, send me on crossers, make people run with me, send me in motion, and then bring me back across the field. But Zach Taylor doesn't do that. He's just, I think he got comfortable saying, "Well, shit, I have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Somebody's gonna beat their man," and that's cool. But you also can make it easier on him and be like, "Let me just get him open." And like it's okay to do, especially when you
Yeah.
know that these teams, hey, they're doing their best to not let you get the deep shots because what are they doing? They're sitting back and too high and say, okay, everyone cloud to underneath and the split safeties. Hey, this half of the field is your responsibility. This half is yours. And the best way to get those shots down the field is running the ball
Running the ball.
and getting them out of too high. And guess what they won't do if you're only running the ball 13 times out of 50, 60 plays.
Right.
They're not going to get out of too high. So you won't get those shots down the field. And so once again, it comes to Zach as a play caller. And, I hate to put it all, I'm not putting it all on him, but he can make a lot of this stuff look different.
Sure. Wow. I love that. Well, I love what your points. I don't love that the Bengals have not started great and they're in a rough spot, but it is.
I've been through worse. I've been through worse.
Speaking of worse, and speaking of being in a rough spot, let's talk about the Bears for a minute because they're my team, and that's part of why I do this show is just to wallow in sadness every week. So they've officially lost 12 games in a row. They have not won since October 24th, 2022, which coincidentally was my birthday. So
shout out to the October, baby.
Yes.
I'm October 19th, man.
Let's go. Scorpio season. So they did not look great. They're 0-2. They're staring 0-3 in the face. They have to go, I think, to Kansas City this week, which is not great. I think it's a combination of different things. What? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, that's not gonna be easy.
No. So the play calling, Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, is calling plays.
That was my first question,
brother.
What the hell is Luke Getsy doing,
dude? They have called a total of 4 design runs for Fields all year. They are not calling any bootlegs. It is just, let's see how many screen passes we can throw in a row. The first drive on Sunday, they looked awesome. They went 75 yards. They let them open it up. They found DJ Moore quickly. They went down, they scored a touchdown, and then I think the entire rest of the second half, first half, they had 40 yards of offense.
Yes.
Fields
53 or something like that.
Yeah, not great. The O-line is the O-line. It's terrible again. They're still missing Tevin Jenkins. They're also missing Nate Davis.
Mm-hmm.
The secondary for the majority of the game, missing 3 of the 5 starters, plus their first backup nickel corner. So just injuries all over the place. The play calling wasn't great. And then Fields, I feel like his decision making wasn't awesome. I feel like he held on the ball very, very long. It feels like he's questioning himself and questioning his teammates. Just feels like he doesn't have a lot of confidence in what's going on around him. And it's getting me a little worried, AJ. Is it time to get worried about Justin Fields? That's my question to you as somebody outside the fan base and outside perspective. What's your take on this whole clusterfuck?
It's not time to worry about Justin Fields. It's time to really question the organization. The players will always bear the brunt of it because they're the ones that people can relate to. They're the ones that people can identify. They're the ones that people can see, and they're the ones on the field. And I'm not saying that Fields doesn't have any responsibility in this, but you have to put your players, once again, I use this word, in advantageous situations that works to their strengths. When Justin Fields came out of college, his strengths were working outside of the pocket and throwing deep.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have one of the lowest average depth of targets in the NFL. And your 1,000-yard rusher, probably your best running threat, has only had 4 design runs called for him. To me, that is malpractice because you can't identify what this player is. And we've said it before. So many coaches try to have a player and make them fit their system instead of making a player better by molding their system around the player. Because I'll tell you what, coming out of college, who was probably more polished as a an NFL prospect, Justin Fields or Anthony Richardson?
But no, Fields. I mean, he started more games, had more experience, played in higher
Way more
stakes
games,
football. Yeah,
higher
way
stakes.
higher stakes
Yes.
football games. Yeah, absolutely.
But guess what? Guess what Shane Steichen did? The same thing that he did with Jalen Hurts. Say, hey, you're an athlete. We're going to get you on the run. We're going to make these defenders have conflict. We're going to put them in conflict because they either have to stop you or the person you're going to throw it to. We know your footwork can be inconsistent. And so you can be a little bit inaccurate in the short. And that's what people think. People see, these short passes and be like, how can you not hit a man 5 yards away? When in all actuality, that 5-yard route is a lot harder to hit than throwing the ball 40 yards downfield. Because what people fail to realize, when you see a deep ball, a pretty deep ball, and you throw it 40-4, it's like, oh, damn, like, how can he hit that, but he can't hit the 10-yard out? That 10-yard out is so much more difficult because it has to have timing. You have to, sometimes get it over a defender. You have to have touch. When you're throwing that deep ball, sometimes it looks so accurate and pretty, but it's actually an inaccurate pass. You're throwing it 10 yards to the right, but that receiver, he tracks it. He can just run under it.
Right.
And they're not allowing him to do that. Justin Fields has a great arm. You don't bring in DJ Moore and just say, hey, take a bubble screen 60 yards. You don't have Darnell Mooney and just be like, hey, we're just going to, send you on these jet sweeps. No, allow them to work downfield. And guess what? You allow them to work downfield. You call some design runs for Justin Fields. You call some, a couple, read options for Justin Fields. You're putting teams in conflict. You don't call 3 screens in a row and then the third screen gets intercepted for a pick 6 and then blame Justin Fields.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. That's like, say what you want and say, oh, how did he get? No. If you watch that play, he was just like, oh shit, they're doing it again. As soon as he felt that lineman, try and, let him go by him, he was like, oh, I know what this is. I've seen it 2 plays in a row to the same side. Like, no, it's not time to worry about Justin Fields, man. Like, it's time to worry about the organization and how they're failing him.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. But yes, you're right. It's 100%. It feels negligent on the organization, on the coaching staff. And I'm tired of seeing this guy just feel like it's not like he's not being set up for success. Like he is. I don't know. I should change it on here. Is it time to be worried for Justin Fields? Hell yeah, it is.
Yes. Yes, but it's time to be worried for Justin Fields.
And it's crazy because, like, he's shown flashes of how good he can be, and then stuff that is not so good. But like you said, 3 straight screen passes. By the way, inside your own 10-yard line. Shaq Barrett came out after the game and said, "Yeah, the entire defense knew it was coming. He said that was one of the easiest pick 6s of my life." You watch that in real time, it looks like just an awful decision, an awful throw by Fields, but
the screen was going right to the running back, but it's just like, what are you supposed to do? He's like, I'm just gonna, like, I know, like, if sometimes, like, and this is another thing that, like, I before I found out they ran this play 3 times in a row, I was like, sometimes you have to give credit to the defense because the defense just makes a good play. It's like when you hear stories about Ed Reed, and Ed Reed's like, oh, I know what they're doing. I'm about to go make this play. Or Troy Polamalu, like, oh shit, I know what's about to happen, and I completely abandoned my assignment. And next thing you know, I take an interception back to the house. This is the same exact thing. It's just like, I know I've seen teams run screens a million times, and you're backed up in your own end zone. So it wasn't like Justin Fields could fake a drop back, and sink back and stuff like that. So it's just like he can only take a 2-3 step drop on a screen and still have to try and dump it over Shaq Barrett. So no, once again, it's complete malpractice. And another thing, like I said before, you have a mobile quarterback. He was your best running threat last season, and to not use him is ridiculous.
It's egregious.
We talk about Justin Fields, and everyone says that he's broken. We watched a Tim Tebow who could not throw. get the Broncos to the playoffs. And guess what they had? They had the number one rushing attack in the NFL. You know why? They ran the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And when you run the ball, it makes things a lot easier. And
I think another thing that's tough is that, I mean, I don't know your opinion on this, but I don't love the whole running back by committee approach. I like knowing who the guy is in the backfield. I like knowing who we're going to turn to that. Yeah, I'm going to give him the ball and he's going to give me that 3 yards. He's going to give me the 2 yards that I need. I just don't know if they have that guy. Could it be Herbert? Yeah, absolutely. Could it be Johnson? Sure. But I guess it's just tough when you're just trying to figure that out during the season. You know what I'm saying?
blame the nerds. Analytics makes everyone feel like, oh, we can just do a running back by committee. And so, yeah, it's just like, okay, we'll just put anyone back there, especially once again, when you have the thought process of, oh, we could put anybody back here and we're running, because guess what? We don't need to run anyway. Just, do it a couple times because, analytics tells us the EPA per play is so much lower when you run the ball versus when you pass the ball. But one of the things that they do not account in that EPA per play from the run, how it affects the pass. So even when you look at Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, once Isaiah Pacheco started going, that team started really, really kicking off. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he may not have been a 20 carry guy, but if he's getting 15 touches and then like 15 carries and then also, 3 to 5, passes out of the backfield, that matters.
Yeah,
absolutely. It matters. And when you have a Justin Fields, the best thing that you can do for him when you have an iffy offensive line, an iffy running game, is allow him to get out of the pocket, allow him to, do some zone read plays. And guess what that's also going to do? It's going to help your offensive line, because now those rushers, they have to, they can't just, hey, everybody meet at the quarterback.
Yeah.
They have to be disciplined in their rush lanes, because if somebody overcommits, it's how Lamar Jackson killed us. We didn't even try to rush him. But as soon as somebody overcommits, oh shit, I'm going to take off for 10. It's so easy. And then once he does that, you got to play in zone, and people just sit in zones all day. And there's the receivers just like, all right, I'll sit down right here, catch it for 6, turn around and fall. That's how Jason Witten made his money. Hey, I'm going to just catch the ball, turn around 6 yards every time. I'm going to catch the ball and fall. He was damn near, 38, 40 years old, still just being a menace over the middle, because I'll just catch it and fall because we run the ball so well.
I mean, if they're going to let you dink and dunk them to death, you're going to do it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. You have to have a balanced offense, because it just opens everything up. It opens up the play action. It opens up deep balls, like you said. It's frustrating. It's not getting any easier. Hopefully they get a little bit more healthy. I'm rooting my ass off for Fields. It's just, again, it feels like another situation where he's not being set up for success, and similar to your thoughts on Taylor, it's why is Getsy calling the plays? He sucks. Yeah. So enough of me wallowing and bitching about my team. Let's move on. We'll do our week 3 preview / pick. So we're just going to go through every game and talk about it a little bit. So first we'll start with Thursday night football. The New York Giants are going to San Francisco. The 49ers are getting 10 points. To over-unders at 44 right now. Niners have looked awesome to start the season. They look like a legit Super Bowl contender. Giants had to claw their way back from, I think they were down 28-0 against the Cardinals this Sunday. So should be an interesting one on Thursday. What do you got for this?
Remember how the Giants looked against the Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty similar. Pretty similar. And, I always have this thing with Thursday night games. If you're betting, always go with the home team, because 8 out of 10 times the home team is going to win, just strictly off of it being a short week and that other team had to travel. So less preparation, less treatment, all of that.
All right.
But this doesn't even factor into that. 49ers by a lot.
Yeah, they're just gonna bully the shit out of them. No Saquon for the Giants as well. Got to remember that. So yeah, I'd happily lay the number there with the 49ers. Next up, we'll go Titans at the Browns. Shout out to Nick Chubb, man. I hate to see that.
That's tough, man. I hated to see it.
I know he's a guy in your division that's a rival, but that's it was crazy. But anyway,
that it sucks. I feel for him, man, and I'm one of those fans that I still recognize that these dudes are human. I am like I want to play everybody healthy. I don't wish injuries or none of that on these guys because man, these dudes are human. They working. I wouldn't want somebody coming to my job and be like, man, I hope he breaks his leg so I can do better at my job. I just don't feel like that's fair to these dudes, man.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but
that's what we'll leave it at. Just get well soon. Tennessee +3 at Cleveland, over under 39.5. Cleveland did not look so great last night on Monday Night Football, and I guess I'm kind of surprised they're favored, but they are at home. What do you think?
So I'm actually not surprised that they're favored because I think this Cleveland defense is going to give the Titans hell. And the Browns, I think that the Browns as a team are better than what you saw on Monday night because let's not forget, they started that game off with a pick six.
Right.
They outgained the Steelers in every category. They held the time of possession. It's just they turned the ball over. And that's just one of those, that's just some of that in division, craziness. I think that offensive line for the Tennessee Titans, I think that they're going to make it hard for Derrick Henry to get going, which is going to, put pressure on Ryan Tannehill to take over. And I think this is just going to be one of those games where the Browns, kind of like what they do to us every time they play them, they're going to play defense, run the ball, salt the game away, and bet the under.
I like it
because this might be one of those 19-17 games, something like that.
I like
that.
It
might even be 12-10. We might have field goals down there.
It'll be a 9-6 finish or something like that. I mean, you think you're watching an Iowa football game. So I kind of want to ride with the Titans just because, and that's absolutely recency bias because they won me money last week. But I love that. I'll ride with you on the under there, under 39.5. We'll move on to, this is an interesting matchup here. 2 0-2 teams. The Chargers are going to Minnesota to play the Vikings. Vikings 1.5 point favorites, over under of 53.5. Feel like I'll start. This is just a must bet over for me. So I'm gonna take the over.
I'm definitely gonna take the over on this one too. I think they're playing in Minnesota. There's gonna be a lot of points scored, fast track. It is still early in the season, so I'm definitely taking the over on this one. Shockingly, I talked bad about them, but I'm going to Chargers.
I actually like the Chargers to win too.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota's defense is bad. Yeah. They are very bad.
Brandon Staley's bad too, but yeah. So there's that.
I feel like it's a one-score game, but I feel like it's a lot of points, and it maybe comes down to whoever has the ball last. But I like the Chargers to go on the road and win this too. But definitely the over is that might be my favorite play of the weekend. Yeah, next up, the Patriots going to New York to take on the Jets. Kind of a get-right game, almost for both teams, really. 2.5. The Patriots are getting 2.5 points on the road and over under of 37. Oh God, that feels low.
Yeah.
So Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. What do you think? Yeah. If you don't have a pick, that's okay. I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole.
I'm not gonna pick Mac Jones or Zach Wilson, but I will say I like the Patriots in this game. And I actually felt before the season, I felt that the Patriots could be a double digit wins team. I felt that they could get to 10 wins. And if you look at it, they've played these games close. They played the Eagles close.
Right.
They played Miami tough. They they had a chance to win both of those games. And so I just think that defense is going to be too much for Zach Wilson. I think Belichick, he'll be able to get some things going on offense to get them a couple points.
Right. It just feels like this feels like a game the Patriots win. I know the Jets defense is very good this year, but it's for me, yeah, it simply comes down to I cannot trust Zach Wilson as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
We'll move on. We're going to go to Buffalo going to the 2-0 Washington Commanders. Shout out B Cannon.
Yeah.
Buffalo favored by 6.5, over under a 44.5. Buffalo definitely looked like they got some shit figured out this past week, just whooping up on the Raiders. But the Commanders going. I mean, I actually picked the Broncos to win that game last week. So good on them. Eric Bieniemy, I like what he's done with their offense so far, but 6.5 feels like a lot of points in this game, AJ.
Yeah, that's way too many points. I'm not as high on the Buffalo Bills as everyone else is right now.
Sure.
And so I actually think this is going to be one of those, the Buffalo Bills squeak this one out by a late field goal. I think this is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. That Commanders defense, I think they'll be able to put pressure on Josh Allen. They have the bodies to do so. And when you put pressure on Josh Allen, that's when you start to see Josh Allen make those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be one of those games that plays right into it. And Eric Bieniemy has been calling some really good games for the Commanders. So the Commanders have a really good shot to pull this, quote unquote upset off. But
right.
I think it's going to be a close game. And the Bills almost getting a touchdown. I just can't see that.
It feels like a lot. I agree with you. I'd take the Commanders plus 6.5. I also like the over here. I think overs went 12-2 in week 2. So again, recency bias for me. But it just feels like two offenses that can score some points. 44.5. I mean, you don't think each of these teams can score 3 touchdowns and a field goal? I think it's plausible.
Yeah. I'm with you on the over.
Texans and Jaguars. So Jaguars are getting 9.5. They're hosting the Texans. Man, I'm a little worried about CJ Stroud. Similar to the Fields thing is something with his organization. Like I think he's thrown 40 plus passes in both of their games so far, which just feels like way too much volume.
Yeah.
But Jaguars 9.5 at home, over under 43.5. Does feel like quite a bit of points. But also the Jaguars, I'm sure, are going to be pissed off coming off that loss to the Chiefs.
That offense looked horrendous. So I think this is one of those games that the Jaguars are going to look to get right. But I'm with you, man. CJ Stroud dropping back that many times, I think that's just not right. And let's not forget, the Texans were actually last year when they had Davis Mills, that they were actually rolling with Dameon Pierce a lot and giving him a lot of carries.
He had a great year last year.
Yeah, so it's kind of shocking to me that Bobby Slowick came in there and isn't realizing, hey, let's use Dameon Pierce a little bit. And I think one of those things is he's one of those PFF, nerds. So he's like, oh, EPA per play, passing yards, this and that. No, run the damn football.
Right.
Keep the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands, and I guarantee you will have a shot to win this game. If Dameon Pierce gets 20 carries, they could easily win this game. But he's not going to get it, and you're going to put the ball in CJ Stroud's hands. It's going to make it tough.
And I'm not saying this kid can't succeed, but it's just a lot of pressure to put on a guy that through his first 2 games of the year. And by the way, they're a team that's not really trying to win either. So I guess I should say that.
He's a rookie. Yeah. It's like you got I just never understood how people don't like when you go to your first day on the job, they don't just hand you all of your duties and say, all right, cool, we'll be back around
Yeah.
lunchtime to check on you. No, they say, hey, like, this is how we log into the system.
That's
This is
funny.
where we go to check this. And they spoon feed you,
Right.
spoon feed your rookies, man. It's okay.
Let's move on. We'll go to the Colts and the Ravens. So Ravens getting 7.5. They're at home, over under a 44.5. I love the Ravens to cover here. They've looked really, really good to start the year.
Yeah.
And I don't think Richardson's playing.
Yeah, I'm about to
But
say
I don't know.
he's in concussion protocol. So depending on what happens with him in concussion protocol, I mean the Colts, they do have Gardner Minshew and stuff like that, who has been around the league and played well at points. But even if they had Anthony Richardson, I would pick the Ravens to win this one. If Anthony Richardson doesn't play, I think the Ravens win this one by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think they run it up on him.
Yeah.
And not like Gardner Minshew is honestly, he's probably one of the better backups,
of course,
in the league right now. So no shade on him, but again, it's a situation where the Colts aren't really trying to win a bunch of games.
Exactly, and I just think that this Ravens team, they're just each week they're just going to get better and better.
Yeah, and they're getting better and they're gaining more confidence as the weeks go on as well. So looks like we're pretty much on the same page there. We'll move on to the Falcons are going to Detroit to play the Lions. The Lions are getting 3 points, over under a 46.5. Lions looking for a bounce back. Falcons feeling pretty damn good about themselves so far this year.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna pull pull with the Falcons on this one. I think the Falcons can pull this one off. Arthur Smith, he's got Bijan looking like
he looks like the real deal. He looks legit.
No, he doesn't look like the real deal. He looks like the best running back in football so far this season. And I don't want to speak too soon, but especially with Nick Chubb gone for the season, I think it's either between McCaffrey and Bijan. You know what I mean?
I gotta say, doing fantasy football and stuff, and seeing how high Bijan was rated in these mock drafts, I'm like, dude, how are we just rating a rookie this high? I ended up getting him in one of my leagues, and I will say I'm shut my mouth real quick because he's looked great. He's looked incredible. But that is I'll have to clip that. Best running back in the league so far. I love it. Falcons on the month. Yeah.
Go ahead. I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What draft pick would it take for the Falcons to trade for Justin Fields for you to be like, fuck it, I'll do it? Because I think Justin Fields would kill with the Falcons.
He grew up a Falcons fan too, because he's from Georgia.
Exactly.
It'd have to be. Fuck. I mean, I'd say he was the 10th pick. So if we're going based on give me a first, it'd have to be a pretty decent package. I don't know. That's something I'd have to think about.
Because I think Ryan Poles would just I think because you have to think he's it's almost time for for that 5th-year option to be picked up.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what's going on there, he's still on his rookie contract. You did trade out of that first pick with the Panthers. So if teams know that you're gonna be picking a quarterback,
yeah,
you might not be able to get a king's ransom for Justin Fields. So just imagine if they traded maybe a third or something like that, put Justin Fields back there with Bijan, and then you got Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
It'd be pretty nasty.
I think that would be something.
Yeah, that's something I don't want to think about, but yeah, that'd be
sorry to derail it. Sorry to do that to you, man.
No, it's okay. It was a good question though. But you're right. It probably would devalue him a little bit. But I know he'd get traded and then just absolutely tear it up wherever he goes. Because
shout out Arthur all the damn time.
Arthur Smith is actually pretty good coach, great mustache as well.
Yeah.
So if you take the Falcons on the money line on FanDuel plus 140, I think that's worth a sprinkle. I want to pick the Lions, but yeah, I'll take the Lions. We'll go head to head. We'll go head to head on this one,
Okay,
AJ.
I like that.
I like that. So we'll go Saints at the Packers next. Saints plus 2 over under 42.5. The Packers have looked all right.
Yeah.
Not great, not awful. Saints, I would kind of put in a similar category there, where they're 2-0 right now, but they kind of had to fight. They had to fight their way to those 2 wins for sure. But I kind of like the Saints to go into Lambeau. I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna go Saints money line plus 110.
Oh man, so we back-to-back picks. We go head to head, man.
I like it.
I'm going the Packers here, man. I've actually, saw some things that I've liked out of Jordan Love so far.
Hasn't looked bad.
Yeah, he hasn't looked bad.
As much as I fucking hate to say that, he has not looked bad.
I know it hurts, man. I know it hurts. But yeah, man, I think the Packers they might be on to something, and as time goes on, I think this team might get a little bit stronger.
That's true. From my perspective, I'm sitting there thinking like, there's no way they hit on 3 really good quarterbacks in a row, right? There's no way they can keep getting away with this shit.
They can't keep getting away with
it. So we'll move on. Next up is Denver going to Miami. Miami's favored by 6.5, over under 48.5. This kind of feels like a lot of points, but also I could see Miami just running away with it at the same time. I don't know.
I could definitely see Miami running away with it, especially because it's in Miami. And one thing people don't talk about, man, it's hot as hell in Miami. And that is a strategic advantage during football season. And so I'm gonna take Miami in this one, but I actually think it's gonna be closer than a lot of people think. I don't think this is gonna be a big game because, say what you want, I don't think Russ has played that bad this year.
No, he looks a lot more comfortable this year. Sean Payton is an infinitely better head coach than Nathaniel Hackett is. So I feel like they're trending in the right direction. It maybe hasn't gone as well as they were hoping to start the year, but this isn't the Russ we saw last year.
And let's not forget, damn near every single one of their wide receivers got hurt in camp.
Right.
So it's just like as those guys get healthy and they start to work some guys in, I think that this Broncos team they'll right the ship a little bit. You didn't hire Sean Payton to look like Nathaniel Hackett.
Exactly. So we'll go to the first 3:00 game. Panthers going to Seattle. The Seahawks are getting 5.5. Over under is 42. I think I'm in the mindset where it's just at this point we kind of bet against the Panthers every week until they prove you not to do so.
It's kind of your best bet right now. It's just like, hey guys, hey, it's okay, but hey, I'm sorry when you're rolling out Adam Thielen as your number one guy, I'm a little bit concerned. But Bryce Young, he's had his moments, man, and it's the rookie lumps. He'll get it. But yeah, I'm with you on this one. Seahawks is pretty straightforward.
It's tough, when you're the high draft pick like that, and you're going into a team with just one of the worst situations possible in football. They did their best to try to surround him with some weapons, but it's Miles Sanders, it's Adam Thielen. Names that don't really scare you a whole bunch. So now, I don't know if I even want to talk about this one, but the Bears going to the Chiefs. When I opened up FanDuel and I saw this spread, I laughed out loud. The Chiefs are favored by 12.5, which is fucking hilarious. It is a lot of points. Over under 47.5. It feels like it's going to get ugly, and it feels like it's going to get ugly fast. Kansas City Chiefs, Matt Nagy revenge game. Oh, God. What do you think, man? Talk me off the ledge here, or don't. Just confirm it to me. I don't even know if I need to watch this one this weekend, but I'm going to watch every second.
I hope Luke Getsy was like, hey, I'm saving all of my design QB runs
Right.
for week 3, and we start pulling some of the shit out of the hat now. Because if they do that, hey, you can have a chance to keep it close. And I don't think it's all bad. Chris Jones is back, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But against the Jags, the offense didn't look amazing. And so it's like, hey, maybe everybody was wrong about Eric Bieniemy. Maybe he actually does matter.
Right.
So it's like, and we saw Matt Nagy when he was in Chicago. So look, man. Bears plus the 12.5, man.
Let's go. I love it. Bears it. It's a
plus
lot of points.
12.
It's way too many points.
It's way too many points, man. This is the NFL. Bears plus the 12.5.
This will be the game where they'll look great the entire time, and I'll completely talk myself back into it, and then they'll lose at the end in like the most devastating fashion.
But that's fine.
That's
fine.
It's
that is
okay.
fine. That's what you need. You need that glimmer of hope.
Yes.
To be like, this shit is still here. I'm
still
here.
I said it week 1. I said, I'm just happy to be here. So just give me, you don't have to win every game. I know you're not going to win every game. That's unrealistic.
But
just be competitive.
Fun. Give me something fun.
Exactly.
That's what you want as a fan.
Exactly. So Bears plus 12.5. Thank you, AJ. Another large spread, coincidentally, also 12.5 for our next game. It is the Cowboys going to the Cardinals. I'm going to lay the 12.5 with the Cowboys because this feels to me like when they played the Giants. This feels like another 40-0 type of situation.
I might go in there on FanDuel, click that alternate spread, and find and go to
as far as you can go.
I might do this to something 20, see what odds I can get there, because I think this one might get ugly. They played the Giants and be like, yeah, we're tanking, but we can play hard. We're not really tanking. Cowboys ain't having none of that.
FanDuel, you can go all the way up to minus 38.5 for plus 1,800. So $10, win 180. Oh man, dude. Okay, 20.5. So 3 touchdowns plus 235. Like that's not a bad number. 13.5 plus 100 to win by 2 touchdowns. I think they could easily do that. Double your money.
You might do that, and I could do that. Parlay that with something else. I might.
Now you're talking my language.
Might be able to come up with a little bit of something. Well, let me get to Thursday. See what I can cook up.
I'm itching for it, my man. All right, let's go to. We've only got a few left here. 3 games left. So Sunday Night Football, the Steelers going to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Steelers plus 2.5. Over unders 43. Steelers defense looked fucking incredible on Monday Night Football, but their offense, not so much. Outside of that long touchdown play to Pickens, there wasn't much to talk about. I do think Jaylen Warren might sneakily be better than Najee Harris, but I think that's a conversation for another day.
What do you reluctantly draft him in fantasy because it was like, shit, do I want to win? Because I feel like he's going to get more. He's going to end the season as the number 1 running back.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it feels like it's feels like it's trending in that direction for sure. What do you think? Do the Steelers have a chance in this game? Raiders 2.5-point favorites at home.
Raiders being 2.5-point favorites is very, very, very a very, very sneaky move by the bookies.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know that Steelers fan base they're gonna bet that shit. And so it makes me want to be like, yeah, the Steelers. But maybe this is one of those sleepy games that they lose. This was so tough because I want to go with the Raiders, but I feel like the Raiders would have they're in line for a top 5 pick.
Yeah. This just, to me, it's one of those lines where it's like, okay, what do they know that I don't know?
Exactly, and that's just one of the weird things to me because Vegas, they know something.
They
know something to make it that.
So that, like, typically in that situation, I always tell myself, if the line doesn't make sense, you just have to take it. You just have to blindly take it. So, but But also, like, I've got clicked here. I almost want to sprinkle on Steelers money line because it's plus money, and their defense has just been awesome. But I just don't know if I can trust Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada.
Kenny Pickett is bucket. I'm going the Raiders, man.
The Raiders.
I'm going the Raiders, and this game makes me think of John Madden, so I'm going the Raiders.
I love it. Put your nuts on the table. We'll take the Las Vegas Raiders. 2 Monday night games again.
Sick of this.
I don't love it. I love football. I love watching football, but like I guess I just like to having the one game. I don't like
because if it's in prime time, it means this is the prime time game. This is the one that the whole world is watching. I'm not trying to be flipping back and forth between channels.
So the first one, 6:16 Central Time, Philadelphia going to Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield looked actually really good last week. Mike Evans, I think, had more receiving yards than the Bears had net passing yards, which is embarrassing. But the Eagles are minus 5.5. Over under is 46. 5.5 kind of feels like a lot of points. And I know people weren't very high on the Bucs going into the year, but they're coming into this game 2-0. And they clearly looked like the better team in both of their first 2 games.
Yeah.
What do you make of this matchup?
I think that Mike Evans will present a very tricky matchup for the Eagles. And so, once again, like you said, I think this is a lot of points. So I think that the Buccaneers will be able to keep this one close. The Eagles, they have been, they had to replace both of their coordinators. So they're still a work in progress, and they're still filling some things out. So I don't think this is going to be a blowout. This is kind of go back to some of the other games that I said. I think this is going to be Eagles in one of those kind of, last possession games, or if Baker has the ball, can we, stop him and get a late stop to, to seal the game. But I think this is probably going to be one of those, field goal games. So I'm going with Eagles by a field goal.
I like that. So take the Bucs to cover the 5.5. I think the over-under is worth a look. Those are always tricky on Monday night, though, because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's just like last night, for example, that game was drunk as fuck.
I kept asking, like,
Steelers and Browns. Yeah.
I truly kept saying, like, yo, I hate this game. What is going on? Like,
yeah, right.
You start the game off with pick 6. You got all type, like Kenny Pickett comes back and throws another. I'm like, what is going on here?
All right, last game, and this is one I'm excited to hear your thoughts on. The Rams are going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. The Bengals 2.5-point favorites at the moment. Over under is 43.5. Do the Bengals get right? Do the Bengals move to 1-2 on Monday Night Football?
The money line is gonna change on Thursday when Zach Taylor says Joe Burrow will not play the Monday night game. And the Bengals will be underdogs. And Will Grier will come and win on Monday night in front of the world.
I didn't even know he was your backup. That's awesome.
He's not. He's on the practice squad. We signed him at the end of the preseason, but he's going to jump Jake Browning on the depth chart, and he's going to start the Monday night game and lead the Bengals to victory.
I love that. So take the Bengals. Money line currently is at minus 126.
That will be plus money by Thursday.
I love plus money. I'm a plus money hunter. You said it at the beginning of the show. The Los Angeles Rams have looked really good. Are they for real? So this is another test for them. This is a road test for them. And it is definitely a Bengals game where it's like, hey, we kind of need to figure out what we are and the direction that this season is going. So AJ's on the Bengals, which, of course, you can't bet against your own team. I love it. But that wraps it up. That is our week 3 preview. AJ, this has been an awesome conversation, man. I love getting to chop it up with you. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show. One more time before we go, let everybody know where they can find you. and anything you want to plug.
Yes, man. You can find us on our socials at 3manweave_ on Instagram and Twitter. You heard us talk about it before. We have the 3Man Weave Facebook group. You can email us at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. You can also put in orders for our merch at the email at podcast.3.man.weave@gmail.com. We got the t-shirts, we got the hoodies, we got varsity jackets, we got joggers, we got basketball shorts. If you want it, we can make it happen, man. Come talk to us at the 3Man Weave. Come get some merch. And Andy, from Cannon, Hill, and myself, man, it's always a pleasure talking to you, man. I appreciate it, man. And we it's always fun when we get together.
It's all love, man. It's always fun. It's so good to see you guys doing well. It's so good to talk to you and hear your thoughts and just catch up in general. Like I said, it's been too long. Follow 3Man Weave, listen to 3Man Weave. These guys have awesome perspectives, awesome takes on football, basketball. You guys talk about pop culture, pretty much everything. Join the Facebook group. I'm in there. Some great debates, some funny stuff that people like to share as well. Please, while we're doing some plugs, follow us at the Brew Party on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we're at the Brew Party Podcast on Facebook. Please like this video on YouTube, comment, share it with a friend. Tell us who you like this weekend. Tell us what you think about our picks. Tell us your picks as well. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, basically wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the Brew Party. Like and subscribe. Let's go Bears. Let's go Bengals. Good luck in these head-to-head matchups, AJ. Once again, Thanks for joining me. This has been the Brew Party Podcast, episode 112. We are out of here.